In tonight's headlines, the prosecution in the Jimmy Lai trial produces text messages from the founder of the now-defunct Apple Daily. A survey finds that 9,000 Hong Kong students contemplated suicide in the last academic year. And flights from Hong Kong to Haneda resume, a day after a horror crash at a Japanese airport.
The Foreign Ministry's office in Hong Kong has slammed a group of lawmakers from the West, as well as British politicians who are supporting media mogul Jimmy Lai in his national security trial. Beijing's outburst came a day after the founder of the now-defunct Apple Daily pleaded not guilty to conspiracy to collude with foreign forces, including allegedly urging sanctions against China and Hong Kong, and conspiracy to publish seditious publications. Security remained tight as 76-year-old Lai was taken to court in a prison van. On day 5 of his trial, the prosecution produced text messages between Lai and Zhen Kim-hung, the chief executive of the newspaper's parent company Next Digital. In a text conversation to discuss inviting Hong Kong's last governor, Chris Patten, for an interview, Lai reportedly stated that he wanted to push more people to join demonstrations against proposed amendments to the extradition law. Lai is said to have told Zheng to instruct their colleagues not to target Donald Trump, as the Apple Daily relied on the former U.S. president for protection. The prosecution also displayed several Apple Daily articles as proof that it promoted violence. Lai was accused of increasing his own political and international influence by publishing his columns in Apple Daily and ordering senior staff to interview him. The prosecution alleged that when Hong Kong was hit by COVID, the newspaper continued to publish articles inciting rebellion against the SAR and Beijing. The trial continues. Maisie Mock, Cable News. A Department of Health survey has found that over 9,000 primary and secondary school students had planned to take their lives. This was stated by nearly 3% of the 300,000 students who answered a questionnaire at health service centers. Another 4,000 students said they attempted suicide in the past 12 months. The group, Samaritan Befrienders Hong Kong, urged youths to contact them for emotional relief. Executive Director Clarence Tseng said the government's figure is alarming, and he urged schools to hire more social workers. Tseng said 2 social workers per school is not enough, as they have to spend more time on students with suicidal thoughts.
Police have urged elderly people who withdraw large sums of money from banks or ATM machines to be accompanied by family members. The advice followed the arrest of a person who allegedly tried to snatch $14,000 from a 74-year-old man. The elderly person was followed by the suspect after withdrawing the cash in Tuen Mun Town Plaza yesterday. When they reached Wu Choi Road, the would-be robber tried to grab the bag containing the money. There was a tussle, but the elderly man held onto his bag. The suspect fled after knocking down the senior citizen who was treated in hospital for a minor head injury. Flights to Tokyo's Haneda airport are back to normal one day after a fiery crash. Hong Kongers returning from the Japanese capital were relieved to be back home. There was a miraculous escape for all 379 people on board a Japan Airlines plane, which was landing at Haneda yesterday when it collided with a Coast Guard aircraft on a runway. 17 passengers were injured. 5 of the 6 people in the smaller aircraft were killed. The sole survivor of the plane, which had been helping in earthquake relief work, was badly injured. It took 8 hours to put out the fire. A Hong Konger in the passenger plane said it took 4 minutes for everyone to be evacuated before the aircraft exploded and burst into flames. People returning to Hong Kong from Haneda today expressed relief, saying they only faced a 4-hour delay. Another returnee praised Japanese airport staff for helping worried passengers. 2 local travel agencies said their tour groups to Japan were not affected as they mostly used Narita Airport, which is also in the Japanese capital. The Immigration Department received calls from 10 Hong Kongers seeking help and transferred their cases to the Chinese embassy in Tokyo. Warren Chim from the Hong Kong Institution of Engineers described the crash as unfortunate, but praised the crew of the passenger plane for supervising the evacuation, which he said was perfectly done. Janice Yu, Cable News.
Emergency crew have been searching homes following the powerful earthquake that rocked the western coast of Japan on New Year's Day. The death toll has climbed to at least 64, with dozens injured by the 7.6 magnitude tremor which struck the Noto Peninsula. There are fears that further landslides could delay rescue work, which is already hampered by blocked roads. Hundreds of houses collapsed, prompting massive evacuations. Over 33,000 people have left their homes and are being accommodated in temporary shelters. Many of them are worried about the freezing conditions, and some complain that they are not getting enough food. China has offered to provide help to Japan following its deadliest earthquake in nearly a decade. The deputy leader of Hamas, Salah al-Aruri, has been killed in a drone attack on a building in the Lebanese capital, Beirut. 2 military commanders and 4 others also died in what Israel called a surgical strike against the Hamas leadership. The Lebanese group Hezbollah vowed to avenge the deaths. South of the border, Palestinians in the occupied West Bank city of Ramallah protested against the killings.
As we always say, one leader is going, more leaders is coming. So this is not the end, and if they killed one of the leaders, more leaders and more Palestinians will take the flag and will continue the fighting against this occupation, and Palestine will be free, whatever they done.
Hong Kong stocks continued their weak start to the new year, falling for a second straight day. This follows a poor performance on Wall Street overnight and fresh concerns about China economy. The Hang Seng Index fell 0.9%. Railway operator MTR lost 4.2%. Techs also retreated, with Alibaba shedding 1.9% and JD.com sliding 3.2%. Parrot has found freedom after escaping from a pet store in the Yun Po Street Bird Garden in Mong Kok. Firefighters and staff from the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals were called to help capture the bird, which flew off as the owner was opening his store. when the parrot was spotted in Fa Hui Park on Boundary Street. SPCA staff tried to approach it using a fire escape ladder. But the bird flew off and hid under the air conditioner of an upper-level flat on Fa Hui Street. An attempt by firefighters to catch it also failed, and the parrot flew towards Prince Edward Road West. It was last seen resting on the balcony of a flat.